The words Nick Sirianni is taking a step back on offense is music to my ears. Dallas still stinks. Yo, by the way, Dingbat here. If the reports about Nick Sirianni and this offense are true, then the Eagles are on the right track going into the season, and they're exactly where we need them to be. My biggest fear of this season isn't the players, it's actually the coach, Nick Sirianni, and how much control and how much of his offense is going to be used this year. And the reports we're getting right now, if they hold up to be true, it's a very, very good sign. Now, we're going to get into all of it in a second. Few things I got to talk about. First thing, don't you get a little tired as Eagle fans over the course of the last few weeks hearing these Cowboy content creators get on YouTube and start trashing the Eagles and talking about, oh, look at all the all-season distractions. Nick Sirianni, Jalen Hurts, how are they going to get along? This is so funny. And they act like their team has never had things happen. I mean, the Dallas Cowboys, the only relevant thing that happens to them every 30 years, or in the last 30 years, is they have their in-house drama, and their players get arrested. Matter of fact, right now, this is the scariest part of the year for Cowboy fans, because this is when Cowboy players usually get arrested. I got at least 2 Cowboys arrested by the time camp starts, okay? But I figured they needed a little payback today, We need to remind them that you don't throw stones when you live in glass houses, because quickly, especially Cowboys, things in turmoil seem to come out in all facets. Pause. No Diddy, I think. Dov Kleeman wrote this. Dallas Pound Cowboys head coach Mike McCarthy is reportedly getting fed up with Jerry Jones undermining him, per Ty Dunn. McCarthy is doing the best he can. Some of the people I talked to said he is getting fed up with it a little bit. I'm sure he is. He's in the last year of his contract. He, let's face it, McCarthy's been choking in Green Bay. He's still choking in Dallas. And like I said before, when you take three things, a coach, an owner, and a quarterback, and they're all chokers, what do you get? A bigger choke job. Pause. No Diddy. But that's what you get. They are a giant bunch of chokers. So, just saying, you could come out there and trash the Eagles because of some stupid report or something, but look, you guys are never too far away from the chaos yourselves. Also, the Eagles, it looks like this could be the week we find out when the Kelly Green is going to be used during the season. The Eagles Twitter today kind of teased when the Eagles are going to be playing in Kelly Green, asking the fans the question. They usually do that. That means the next day or during the week sometime, they're going to announce it. So I think we're going to find out what games. I'm hoping for at least 3 games in Kelly Green this year. I think we'll get 2. I think we'll get 2 Kelly Green games, 1 black jersey with the black helmet, and I hope that the Kelly Green is used during a Cowboys game, and then, maybe, I don't know, if you get any other team playing in a throwback or something like that, I wouldn't mind it. But I can't wait to see the Kelly Greens once again. I love those things. I do. And I don't know if you guys saw this, but PFF put out their odds to win the NFC East. And here's what they had. And I think this is ridiculous, to be honest with you. Odds to win the NFC East. Philadelphia Eagles, 40%. The Dallas Cowboys, 38%. The New York Giants, 11%. Washington Commanders, 11%. The Dallas Cowboys have done nothing all off season. They can't pay players. They can't get people. They've lost people. Yet the Eagles are only 2% more than them. Not to mention that no team has repeated as NFC East Division champions since 2004 when the Eagles did it. So the chances that the Dallas Cowboys are going to win division are slim to none. This thing should be Philadelphia Eagles 60%. The Cowboys should be about I mean, you could say maybe 20%. And then the Giants and Washington. Matter of fact, I'll be honest with you, Giants shouldn't be 11% either. There's no way they're better than the Commanders or even close. So I think the Commanders, I think the division is going to turn out like this. Eagles first, Washington second, Dallas third, and the Giants fourth. That's how I think the division turns out. But, I mean, they do got to play the games. So at the end of the day, we're going to find out. And speaking of find out, if this report that we're getting right now is true about Nick Sirianni, the Eagles are on the right track, and that's what we need. There's a report saying Nick Sirianni is putting a good deal of trust in Kellen Moore to, quote, handle a lot of things within the Eagles offense this offseason, per Fowler of ESPN. That's a good sign. And he goes on to say this. Quote, I'm told the Eagles have spent a lot of time this offseason taking the old offense, Nick Sirianni's system last year that Jalen Hurts is used to, mixing it with Kellen Moore's principles, put it all in a pot with some gumbo, and seeing what works and what Jalen Hurts is comfortable with. I'm told Hurts has done a good job this offseason of being vocal and taking ownership of the plays he likes and the plays he doesn't. Jay Fowler, ESPN. This is great news. This is the biggest concern I have with the Eagles this offseason. It's not the players. It's not Jalen Hurts. It's not who's going to be the slot wide receiver. It's not even who's safety, who's linebacker. It's how much is Nick Sirianni going to try to force his offense on the Eagles. And what that report says, the way I take that report is, yeah, this is Kellen Moore's offense. He is running the show, and Nick Sirianni is hands off. Hands off. Don't call any plays, Nick Sirianni. That's a good sign. That's exactly what we need. That's exactly what we want. If Nick Sirianni is hands off and he's just trying to manage his team, I actually think he could do that and be successful. I don't hate Nick Sirianni. I know a lot of people don't like him because, he could be brash and he could talk crap and stuff like that. I like a coach with a little attitude. I do. I like it. I loved Buddy Ryan when Buddy Ryan was the Eagles coach. So that stuff doesn't bother me about Nick Sirianni. What bothers me about Nick Sirianni more than anything is you knew last year when you were starting to lose, you knew this offense didn't work. You knew it, and you kept forcing it down the players' throats. And we know that these players were going to this coaching staff. You know it. And they were saying, we've got to change things up. We've got to fix things. And they ignored it. They did not listen to their players. And whether that was Nick Sirianni, whether that was the offensive defensive coordinator, I guess time will tell. But that bothered me, especially because if you remember Nick Sirianni's first year, when his offense wasn't working, and then the Eagles let Steichen start calling the plays, what happened? The Eagles go on a run. They wind up going into the playoffs. And Nick Sirianni, knowing that he has to adjust his offense last year and not, that's one of my biggest problems and issues with him. And now, I just don't know how you survive a total collapse, like a historical collapse, and keep your job. But he did, and that's it. If Nick Sirianni is only focusing on, the players and what's going on with them and certain things and kind of managing everything and staying out of the offense game plan, the defense game plan, and stay out of it, I think he could do okay. Okay, the question, no matter what, the biggest, weirdest situation that could occur for the Eagles is the Eagles, let's say they go to the NFC Championship game. They could actually go to the NFC Championship game, get there, right? Let's say for argument's sake they do. And then you have Kellen Moore. Let's say he goes out and he's a great offensive coordinator. The Eagles have a great offense and everything goes good. You may be in a situation where Kellen Moore may be one of the biggest candidates for a head coaching job out there. And you got Nick Sirianni, who really is benefiting from the offensive defensive coordinators that he have. What do you do? I mean, do you really want to let Kellen Moore go? Do you really want to let him go and then say, all right, Jalen, here's another offensive coordinator for you to go out and learn how to deal with his stuff and do what he wants and his terminology? Do you really want Jalen Hurts to do that again? I don't think so. I really think that if this offense is successful, I think they got to be willing. I mean, I don't know how you do it. If you go to an NFC Championship game and, we'll win or lose, but let's say you go there and your team plays good, how do you fire the coach? But I think it's more valuable to keep the offensive coordinator, to keep Kellen Moore, than to keep Nick Sirianni. You might have to just say, listen, we're going to pay you big bucks to be in the front office, or you have to go to Kellen Moore and be like, it's like the old Sopranos, right? It's going to be like the old Sopranos. Remember, first season, Tony, and his uncle Jr., they're fighting. They're fighting, about, whatever they're fighting about. And they're like, somebody's got to take over, right? Because the boss of the family, why can't I think of his name? April, right? April dies, and was it April? I can't remember these names. I'm old, but basically the boss family dies, and one of those two guys have to take over. So Tony goes to Junior and is like, "Listen, I want you to have it. You take it over." And essentially, Tony sets it up where Jr.Sopranoed is the face of the family, but he's not really the boss. Tony's really running things underneath, and everybody's looking to Junior. I think you have to do the same thing with Nick Sirianni and Kellen Moore. If Kellen Moore is in a situation where he was a great offensive coordinator and he's looking at getting a head coaching job, if you're the Eagles, you got to basically go to him and say, we're going to pay you as a coach gets paid. We are going to basically make you the boss, the coach, but Nick Sirianni will be the head figure. He'll be the puppet. You know what I mean? He'll be the Manchurian candidate. He'll be the coach in name only. But Kellen Moore will really have all the power. You have to do something like that, because if the Eagles have the offense I think they're going to have and do what I think they're about to do, they're going to have a good record. They're going to go to at least the NFC Championship game, in my opinion. And Kellen Moore is going to be looking for a possible head coaching job. And if you're the Eagles, you can't let him go. You can't let him go and then start with a new offensive coordinator all over. You have to keep him. So the Eagles are going to have to find a way to do this. Because if they didn't want to fire Nick Sirianni after collapsing historically, how are you going to fire him if he gets you to the NFC Championship game, even though he's not really getting you to the NFC Championship game? Just food for thought, you know what I'm saying? Nick Sirianni is basically Jr.Sopranoed. Jr.Sopranoed, because he can't be the boss if Kellen Moore has the year he's going to have to have. Kellen Moore is going to have to be the boss. But in name only, Nick Sirianni will be the coach. I say boss, coach. What's the difference? With that said, take care. Talk to you later. Of course, don't be a dingbat. Remember, it's how we vision, baby. We're all just living in it. You know what? It's do or die for Dallas Goedert. It really is. As talented as he is, he has to go out there and stay healthy. We cannot afford to have him missing games, especially when we don't have a lot of depth at the tight end number 2 position. So, we are going to see what Dallas Goedert could do. And my hope is this. He goes out and double moonwalks that ass. Denzel Washington out.